Hey guys, so I'm going to show you how to make this beauty here. I love the colors on this one. It's a great way to use up all those bits and pieces that you have left. I used quite a bit of my end pieces for this one. I would say it takes about 3 hours to make that. The only piece you've got to have are these little things, or you can use like a wooden bead that these both fit through snugly, but you can get those pretty cheap online. I've got a couple others that I made here. This one's actually a little bit bigger. It's 1 row bigger around the bottom. Made it to look like a pumpkin. And then I have a little watermelon one here as well, just to give you some ideas. They work up really fast. I have a 9mm hook, and I found that this works best for me with 3 strands. You could do more strands if you do a bigger hook, but you'll have to test them out. I found with this one and 3 strands, I don't drop them too much. Here are my colors. I'm going to start with these 3 and then work my way through. I don't think it'll use all of this, but this is a stash buster, so if it uses it all up, that's fine. I do recommend a yarn winder to wind them in a case like this. Is super useful. If you don't have one, I highly recommend. So there's my 3 pieces to start. I'm going to do a magic circle with 6 stitches to start. I'm just going to make a flat circle, increasing 6 stitches each row. I think I'm going to go until I have 9 rows. That's 9 rows done. Almost used up that first one. So there's going to be no more increasing. So next I'm going to do 1 row around, but I'm going to work only in the back loop. That gives us that nice definition between the bottom and the side. So now we're going to go do 5, 4, 5, and now we're going to add the first strap. So go into here and do a slip stitch, and then we're going to chain 70. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then turn and single crochet back down. So once you've worked back down the strap again and gotten to the end, you're just going to work into the next stitch there of the body of the bag and do 1 slip stitch, the same as the way you started the strap. There we go. And then you're going to work 40 stitches around the body. Now at the end of those 40 stitches, you can see we're almost to the end of the row here, and you're going to do the second strap the same way as the first. So you do that 1 slip stitch, and then chain 70, and then work your way back down and reattach. And just work to the end of the row. I did finish my first piece of yarn through this row, and I just tied on the next one. After the bag is done, we will take a little needle and just weave in all of those end pieces. That's the end of the row. So now we're just going to work down to the strap again. So for this row, we're going to work in the 2 stitches of the previous row, those same 2 stitches that we put the slip stitch into for the strap. So you go in through the space and work into the stitch, do a single crochet like you would normally for both of those. And that is going to close up that little gap so there's no holes or spaces in your bag. There's those 2, like that. So continue around and do the same for the other strap. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3 rows done, and we're just gonna continue around until we have 20 total rows. Tying on a new color whenever you run out of an old one. So this is 20 rows all done. I've stopped here at the end of the row. So this row I'm going to attach the other end of the straps about at the center, so I'm going to do 4. Down here I have 10 stitches between them, so I'm just going to line it up and do 8 between. Bring the top straps in a little bit closer. 4. Make sure the strap's not twisted. And then I'm just going to do 2 through this. 1, 2. So now I'm going to do 42 stitches, which should line up to leave me 2 for the other strap, and then 8 in between. Okay, it was 44 stitches to here. So I've got my straps on, back to the center. I'm just going to do 1 more row around. All right, so I'm going to do 3 or 4 slip stitches here, just to even out the edge. Yeah, we'll do the 4. Just kind of brings it down a little bit nicer. And then we're going to cut this, leave enough that you can weave in the ends. That. And then especially with something this big, let's see, I like to do this. That just kind of hides that edge. All right. So we can go ahead and secure all of the ends. I'll probably just take each one and tie a little knot and then weave it in. And then we're gonna take the 3 pieces of yarn. One of these times I'll think to do this first because I would like the tie at the top to match the bottom, but I've already used all this yarn up. So we're just gonna make a chain. So make your chain long enough just to go all the way around this with a little bit of extra. I did 80 stitches for this. It'll vary depending on your tension. Pull the end nice and snug. So I like to do it right here, right under the first row. Slide that on. I like to tie a little knot at the end so they can't come off. And we'll cut a little tassel. Leave those on there. there. So if we just pretend that I've already woven in all the ends, it's all done. I would say total, depending on how fast you work, maybe 3 hours to do that. And it did use up almost all of the yarn that I had. There's a little bit of that. I actually had to add a little tiny bit of this to finish. I think this was the biggest one. There's very little left. So it's thick and heavy duty. I really like the colors on this one.